Yeah.
Meanwhile, you guys are dodging negative press everywhere you go. Lots of criticism about the Attitude Era, and I know that this is something where the company is trying to go public. Was there ever a consideration as we're getting ready to go public that all of this Attitude Era stuff was maybe too much? The crotch chops, the suckets, the middle fingers, the beer. Did you think that? I mean, you can't argue with the success of the television ratings. We just talked about at the top of the show, the most watched match in cable television, but
Right.
that is appearing to the fans and the demo. Now we've got to do a bit of a paradigm shift, and we've got to appeal to investors. Was that a conscious discussion that you remember? Do we need to tone it down before we go public?
Yeah, of course, and we did. Excuse me, we did tone it down to some degree, and I think we'd ridden that horse as far as it was able to go. Uh, how many crotch chops and suckets and all these things that you need? It worked in its time, but there was a time it needed to move on, go away, and focus on the great talents we had, and not so much on the uh, their how they were perceived and all that stuff, Connie. It was just we knew we needed to take a departure at some point. The question was, what do we do? When do we do it? How do we change? What do we omit from our normal presentation? And I think it helped freshen up the product. And now look at their product. It's doing great, but they've made all these changes. Now they got a new road to travel today as we speak, and they're doing a great job in that regard. You can't deny or hide from the ticket selling success that and the new model of operation, shall we say, the strategies. What they're doing now is working, and it's far from the Attitude Era.
Let's also mention this is a crazy time for the company because not only are we trying to go public, and Vince is at least probably thinking about the XFL because he's going to launch that not too terribly long from now, but he's also closing a deal in mid-July to create a $25 million themed restaurant, more than 600 seats at the corner of Broadway and 43rd Street in Manhattan and Times Square.
Right.
Of course, we know this is going to go on to become the world. But the original idea is that the complex will have a retail store so you can buy WWF merch, an interactive arcade, and a theater, as well as a restaurant. We know in the end, this becomes a cautionary tale where we had some bad actors who were embezzling millions of dollars. But did you ever think this was a good idea, or did you think we were getting out of our wheelhouse, so to speak?
No, I thought it was a pretty good idea. A restaurant on that location was a gold, could have been a gold mine, selling merch and having good food, having a place to convene. Tourist type thing was, I thought, had a lot of potential. They just got the wrong guy to run it, and that guy I think he went to jail for embezzlement. I think embezzlement would be the right way to determine it. So no, I never was against the world or the restaurant theme. You got to have a place to sell your merch, and that would have sufficed there. But I don't think the idea was bad. I think the people that they had running it was a mistake. I don't know if not enough due diligence was done on their backgrounds and so forth. I can't remember the guy's name that was managing it. That got popped, but I'd never heard of him, which doesn't mean anything other than I hadn't heard of him, and why would I have heard from him or of him? So no, I thought the idea, the general idea of having this facility in that location was solid but you got to have the right personnel to pull it off.
Hey, let's talk about some other names here that are going to be departing the company. We talked about Big Show coming in, Jericho coming in, but on their way out are Nicole Bass, Shannon Hall, Goldust, and Ryan Shamrock. Nicole Bass had said that, hey, she could actually earn more money doing apartment wrestling than she was making with the WWF. It's written in the Observer that perhaps the office was disappointed in her failure to improve in the ring. And there were some fans who felt like the dream match would be Nicole Bass versus China, but the office knew, well, that could only hurt China because China's not bigger than Nicole Bass. So it might ruin some of the mystique of China being this incredible Hulk woman.
And and Conrad, excuse me, the match quality
terrible
would have been horrible.
Yes,
it'd been terrible to force our fans to sit through that particular presentation. And I can assure you, from endless talks with Joni China, she had no interest in working with Nicole Bass because Joni was the old school in that regard. She wanted to have good matches, and I think that's why she was so adamant about working with men, because she knew the match quality would be better. I remember talking to her about working with Ivory. Ivory was a much better worker, but it wasn't the attraction that China was. And it'd been a disaster, a train wreck. Train wreck might have been a compliment. So I'm glad we didn't travel that road.
Yeah, I think everybody agrees. It would have done China no favors. China's a bona fide star at that point. It's just not a good call. I do want to spend some time talking about Goldust, though, because he had been such a big part of the company. I mean, that character was revolutionary. He had incredible years in 95 and 96, and then the evolution of the character in 97. He turned the volume up on the weird in 1998. Then we tried the little religious thing for just a minute in 1999. But by now, here in July, he's no longer with the company. And it's written in the Observer that Terry Runnels, his soon-to-be ex-wife, they're in the process of divorce, she just signed a new deal. So the company clearly felt like she was more marketable than Goldust at that point.
Right.
With the benefit of hindsight, is that one you regret? Or was the real life Dustin just not in a good place at the time?
I don't think he was in a great place. I think drugs and alcohol was part of his enemy. And she was marketable. There's no doubt about that. She had a great look. She was smart, and it could help us in a lot of different ways. But he kind of shot himself in the feet, and not good. I think we could have let him go for a while and restructured his push and moved on. But that was not what Vince wanted to do. Once Vince is through with you, I can speak from experience. Once he's done with you, he's done with you.